You have to be here every day.
Well, that would be nice, but I don't think that would quite work for the rest of
No,
my responsibilities.
I don't think we honestly make enough money for it either.
No.
If we could only pay you.
It's okay.
All right.
I do it for free, but I don't have the, I need to make something.
No, you do. You do. You have to go work
Shoshana
for,
can't do everything.
Yeah, Hudson Bay or somewhere with a lot of money. You can just hang out in Hudson Bay Company all day.
No, that's okay. Okay. So obviously you have an idea what this interview's about, roughly. So it's just about your personal experiences with the way that you have promoted yourself, and sort of with the emphasis on the idea that design is inherently involved in your business. It's an aspect of what you do, and your business has somewhat of an identity that is connected to the design aspect, and obviously that's from your perspective. You're designing pretty much everything that goes on in here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Design would be technically a major aspect of what we do.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. So
Yeah.
so the first question is basically, to what extent does this idea of design or design process factor into your business practice, but also into the identity of your business? And so, that's pretty obvious.
It factors pretty much 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Right.
I could say that on our design, one thing I find interesting, especially because it's not about before or after the recession so much, so I have a take on that, but I find that fashion these days is, it's negative. It's really, really negative. Pop culture is kind of depressed. A lot of the magazines you see, everybody's sort of emaciated and shrunken, and it's dark and moody, and it's just really weird. So I'd say that our design's actually almost kind of counterintuitive, being so poppy and happy and fresh and energetic, and I think it kind of it really kind of pigeonholes us amongst customers, but I'd rather have a few really good hardcore customers than have everyone be just kind of a semi-fan of something they're piling in with everything else.
Yeah, I know you've definitely talked about this idea before of not sacrificing.
It just doesn't work. I don't understand why people want to buy into a fashion that's depressing. Like, ooh, I want that look. She looks heroin chic. Like, they coined that phrase and actually use it to represent styles they actually sell. It's not even ironic.
No.
It's fact. It's so strange to me. It's so weird.
Well, that's a whole other issue. Yeah, psychology.
So our design, although it's
people follow
100% of our
trends.
business, it's a little counterintuitive to trends. So I'd say most of my design aspects are counterintuitive to trends. I'm a little bit stubborn.
That's fine. There's no status quo that somehow you have to be.
It works for our regulars.
Yeah.
Shoshana liked it.
Yeah, I'm sure it works for lots of people.
It works for enough people, and we're a small business. That's as many people as you need it to work for. And I think it's becoming popular again. Pop culture is becoming happy again, and we're ahead of the trend, and we don't have to fake it. I think a lot of other companies that are going to have to start stepping up and being happy again are going to have trouble doing it because it just doesn't act natural. Like, color is back in style, and we've always done color bigger and better than anybody else around this street. A lot more people are coming to us for that color now than they're going to other places, because it's just not natural to a company like Mandula, whose whole design aspect is nothing but black and cream. Like, that's her angle.
I see.
Black. Yeah.
It's limited. Okay.
It's very limited. And whatever, black will always sell, but it's not going to really sell a line. It's not going to sell an identity. If everybody's doing black, it's not much of an identity.
So then the next part of that question, so how do you, obviously, it's obviously very clear to you, you can talk to me about it easily, but that idea of that design element of the business and the design particulars, like that you just referenced, how do you convey that to the public or to customers? Like, how do you convey that element?
It starts with, I guess, probably the name, which, to be honest, is a little bit old on me now. When you've had the same name since you were 17 for your company, you start thinking it would be really nice to change it. But our customers really identify with it. And it's a take on the old saying, devil may care. So it's kind of like, we're so wild, the devil might wear it. It's just sort of a little bit, it's always a little bit cheeky. It's a little bit mischievous. And, even having the word devil in your name, you can't help but summon certain images in people's heads. And the next part being our tagline, locally locally made clothing and accessories with an eco-friendly edge. I haven't had to say that for a while because I don't do much sales repping anymore. And you don't say that to every customer that walks through the door.
No.
But when you're saying, like, we always put something a little bit edgy into it. It's just like you sneak it in. You need a tagline that's flashy and fast, and it goes right to the heart. And when people hear it, they recognize it. And I like that we're eco-friendly, we're local, and we have an edge. And it's just like, it's just a slightly different take on basics. Like, it's just something a little bit silly, a little bit provocative. We're nothing too outlandish, but we're accessible. And like most of our client base is probably regular women with attitude, with a personality, who want to be unique. And then we reflect it in our print media. Like, you have to make a decision clearly and really come through with your style and your personality, and it has to be cohesive. And one of the hardest things I find now that we're bringing other people into designing the design aspects is having them see your image, having them sort of get your direction and really want to be inspired by that, and then convey that through their own style. Because you can't, like, when people try and fake a style, it never comes across right, which is why I'm totally fine. Anybody who wants can rip off anything I ever make. I don't care. You'll never be able to duplicate it exactly the same. You just can't. And it's funny when you look at the postcards and stuff, like our print media, you can really see which photographers are which. And I can show you. I hope we don't run out of your recording stuff.
No, it's got plenty of time. It's huge.
These ones, I can show you more on them. This is by a photographer who's really, really moody. He does a lot of editorials in magazines, and I call him like borderline heroin chic with a lot of his photography. And we wanted him to do something that was pin-up and fun and edgy and more like our common style. But to be honest, it failed. Like, to be honest, I wasn't impressed. The model looks like she's posing. She looks like she's faking it. The photographer, though he's worked with this model before and he's worked with Tyra being the stylist, they couldn't really feel it, and I was really disappointed by the photo shoot. This was the second one where I had less control of it, but I've just really been insisting that I don't want moody, but you back off. And, like, to be honest, her face is, she's looking away from the camera. She's not smiling. She's not sassy. She's not doing anything engaging. Yeah. But it's a little bit closer to our style than other things. So we're going to keep on working with him through time. Though we want to work with other photographers too, to sort of to have variety. This was one of the photographers I like the most who did these ones. He always does fun, interesting, a lot of burlesque stuff, a lot of semi-nude stuff, and his is always bright and bold and empowering. As far as I'm concerned, I never want anything that sells explicitly by sex. I understand we make underwear, and we are trying to encourage regular women to be more comfortable with their personalities and their bodies, and the healthy body types, which aren't the emaciated, skinny, heroin chic models. So of course we're going to have a lot of skin shots and stuff in our media, but he had really, really good photography. And this is one where I controlled the photo shoot, but somebody who's not a photographer took them. And I just find that the hardest part of now bringing all these other people, like, this is the oldest shoot, this is the next oldest shoot I have on postcards, then this one, and you can kind of see the progression. Like, we kind of like aced it right here, where I really had full creative control and exercised my creative control in every aspect. And then we brought a whole bunch of other people in, and it just fell off the table again.
With this one specifically? Or
yeah.
are you talking about
these ones? So these ones were first
all
with Trevor.
together, yeah.
To be honest, Trevor taught me a lot about photography and modeling and everything. Trevor was a great teacher, so I have a lot of inspiration from him. And then that photo shoot really kind of sealed the deal when I had the most creative control, because you just have one person who can really have a cohesive image. And then with this photo shoot, we brought more people in, and it kind of fell off the table. And now we're just starting to bring it back again. And for this spring, they're actually going to do when they're taking the couch and all color, and they're making it like a dream sequence in the studio with a girl who has a really interesting natural. She's slim, but not by any means skinny. She's curvy, beautiful, great eyes. So finally it's coming back again, but it's really hard to keep a message and convey a message and have a personality when you have so many other people who want to be involved in your print media.
Well, that's interesting, because that leads into another question I have for you. But what about, and I don't mean to lead your answers here, but what about the aspect, because I know the whole aspect that you make everything yourself, and that it's something that you, I mean, I know you obviously reference this. I'm assuming that's something that you take specific pride in, or
we're trying to distance a little bit from the fact that I make it all, because as soon as people find out, like, I want to be honest, I'm never going to lie to anybody, and it's a point of interest for people who make stuff that I make it all. But we are going to be hiring sewers, and we are moving